Thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. The past few weeks, I've been doing a lot of summery things, enjoying the sunshine and the nice weather. I've reconnected with friends, spent time with my family, bought myself flowers, visited an art gallery, gotten a facial, started wearing tank tops, even though I feel kind of self-conscious in them. And after all of this, I was like, hold on, did I just become that girl? So you might have seen this trend floating around on the internet, being that girl. So a lot of people have criticized this trend for setting unrealistic standards for what it means to live healthily and take care of yourself. I didn't have that strong of a reaction to it. I honestly didn't really have an opinion on it either way. I think I just have a way thicker skin to this kind of thing just because of the nature of my job. So like in high school when I took senior portraits, it was literally my job to take an ugly alleyway with trash dumpsters and make it look cute. Now I do something similar where my job on social media is to create pretty content through angles and editing and setting things up. Like I had to move this table here and set up all these flowers to make it look pretty. This is not how my room looks on a normal day. And so when I see trends like this, I just have an intuitive understanding, I guess, that this video does not represent that person's entire life, but like props to them for making a pretty video because I know that that takes a lot of effort. And I know this is all easier said than done, but when it comes to consuming this kind of content, I would definitely encourage you to have a similar mindset. Even if you've never been a photographer or a content creator, you can still tell yourself that video looks really pretty and I appreciate the aesthetics, but I know that that person's life does not look like that 100% of the time. I don't need to look like this. I don't need to do those same things, but I can be inspired by certain aspects of it that might be helpful to my life. So now that we're all on the same page and we have protected ourselves against the dangers of online comparisonitis, let's talk about the practical, actually helpful things that we can borrow from that girl. One thing I imagine that girl does all the time, although I haven't asked her, is brain dump. When in doubt, do a brain dump. A brain dump just means writing down all of the thoughts, to-dos, and worries that are floating around in your head. I had a pretty rough 2 weeks recently, but once I pulled myself out of that, I cracked open a notebook, and because all of this stuff had built up in the amount of time that I literally was not doing anything, it helped so much to just write down everything that I needed to do, everything that I was thinking about, and it allowed me to start with a blank slate again. So that's a great place to start with any sort of reset so that your mind is clear. The next thing that you might want to do is clear out your physical space by decluttering. I talk a lot about decluttering on this YouTube channel, so at this point, I'm just beating a dead horse. I was just talking to a friend recently about how that is a really weird phrase. I have a whole series on decluttering if you want specific tips, but otherwise the basic process is just look through all your stuff, decide what you no longer need or want, and then give it away, donate it, sell it, dispose of it responsibly, and that's it. That girl seems to have a very clear focus in life. She has her goals, she has her practical, consistent habits, and she is putting in the work every day towards them. I think this is the most useful part of this trend. I've seen people just sharing lists of habits that you might want to try if you want to be that girl. Honestly, I feel like that girl learned what she knows from watching the Bliss Bean, but I don't know. So for this particular aspect of being that girl, I have tons of videos about planning. A few weeks ago, we did a mid-year review together, so you can download that worksheet from the description. Since we're talking about summer in this video, I recently wrote a summer bucket list, so you might want to try that. One tip though is with a bucket list, it's really helpful to try and map out which of the things you're gonna do during which week, because in the beginning with a bucket list, it feels like you have all the time in the world to complete it, but summer goes by very quickly, so a little bit of planning and scheduling goes a long way. You know what that girl also does? I heard she designed her website on Squarespace. I've just been getting more and more creative with these integrations and I'm really proud of myself. So yes, this video is sponsored by Squarespace. I don't know for sure if that girl has a blog, but she seems like the type. Who else but a blogger would take the time for this? Squarespace is the best place to create a website online where you can grow your brand, flex your superior matcha making abilities, showcase your 5 a.m. morning routine, and anything else that floats your boat. I use Squarespace's integrated blogging features to host all of my YouTube videos and podcast episodes on my website. I have a preview of my Instagram feed in this little gallery at the bottom of my page. It's super easy to design all of this stuff with drag and drop building blocks. You'll have your website done and set up in no time, and then you can get back to your bubble baths and your books and whatever that girl does in her spare time. Squarespace has tons of beautiful templates and you'll definitely be able to find something that fits your needs. You can head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and then once you're ready, you can use my code TheBlissBean to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Alrighty, next up, on a day-to-day basis, we see that girl eating healthily. This is not about matcha or green juice or anything that is green for that matter. It's not about acai bowls or oatmeal that is meticulously arranged. It's also not necessarily about cutting stuff out. I think that's the mindset too often, is cutting bad stuff out. I like to think of it as adding stuff in, so like enjoying more of summer's fresh produce. So for example, I've been enjoying the black currants that we grow in our backyard. I've been enjoying my signature breakfast, which has a lot of vegetables in it. Obviously eating lots of watermelon, cherries, berries, things like that. But of course also crepes and bubble tea and Lithuanian desserts. So doing both, but remembering to keep things balanced, because I know that I have the most energy and feel the happiest if there is a proper balance. That girl also drinks water. I almost did not include this because I know you hear it everywhere. Everyone is always telling you to drink water, but just to throw my story in there, I used to get these ocular migraines at least once a month where I would get a blind spot in my vision and then it would grow and grow and I would get this terrible headache. And those migraines went away once I started drinking more water. So it's basically magic. Please drink more water. Exercise. I have a lot to say on this one. This part of the trend is the most annoying to me, and I tried to put into words why in my script, and I think I'm just gonna say something completely different. I think with the other things that we see in TikToks about this trend, things like drinking matcha, drinking a glass of water, reading, waking up early, whatever, the pretty visual is just a nice little bonus. Like drinking a matcha is delicious and healthy, and the fact that it looks really nice if you put it in a nice glass mug or whatever is just a little bonus. However, with the exercise part, I think these TikToks focus too much on the visuals of exercising. Fancy clothes, crop tops, thin bodies, none of the sweat and the red faces that are actually what exercise consists of. And I think those visuals are problematic because they turn your attention away from the most important benefits of exercise, like the benefits to your mental health or to your long-term physical health. Exercising as part of becoming that girl should not be about changing your body to look one very specific way, and it can also be done in just plain shorts and a thrifted Adventure Time t-shirt, which is what I wear a lot of the time when I exercise. It can be done in your room on a carpet rather than in a fancy gym or on a fancy yoga mat or anything. I saw this graphic on Instagram recently that said that to reevaluate your relationship with exercise, think about the hypothetical scenario in which exercise had no effect on how your body looked. Would you still exercise? How would you feel about it? And I was like, oh. So think about that, and then second, and I cannot stress this enough, find something that you enjoy doing. I see people running outside these days in the summer, during the day, in the hot sun, and I'm happy for them that they seem to enjoy this hobby, but I could never. Me and my mom, we go to dance classes, we go to weightlifting classes, kickboxing, and that to me, like in an air-conditioned room with other people around, good music playing, that is so much more fun, and I still get all the physical and mental benefits of exercise. So if the idea of exercising just makes you go, ugh, try some new activities. You might be able to find something that just makes the time fly by. Another habit of that girl is waking up early. So whatever schedule works best for you, it doesn't have to be early to bed, early to rise, makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise, or whatever that quote is. But just keeping a consistent sleep schedule does a lot for your mental health and for establishing your circadian rhythm, body clock, consistent energy levels, all that sciencey stuff. It's good for you. Finally, that girl romanticizes life. So I just think of that as breaking out of old patterns, whether that means actually trying new things or simply paying more attention to things that I already do every day. For example, focusing on the process of cooking a meal and listening to some music while you do that to make it more enjoyable, or taking a different route to school or work so that you have different surroundings to look at, listening to a new audiobook, or ordering a new meal you've never tried at your favorite restaurant. Anything that just makes things different, because when things are different, time goes by slower, you notice more things, and ultimately, that's the goal, isn't it? I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please remember to take all of social media, all content that is out there with a grain of salt, and have the best summer becoming that person, whatever that personally means to you. Please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. Also, please turn on notifications. Not trying to sound desperate, but YouTube Studio recently told me that the percentage of subscribers on my channel who have notifications turned on is lower than average. So please help me out there, and I will see you next week. Bye!